put a scarlet letter on me, or put another patch on. Or choose a new way. When I was 23, that would make it about 30 years ago. A man saved my life. I was in the crossfire of a botched robbery, or so they called it. And I believe he had the presence of mind to move me out of the way. As I turned to see where the gunfire was coming from, which I didn't even know was gunfire, it all happened so fast. I found myself locking eyes with the face behind the barrel of the gun pointed at us, not more than 10 feet away, 7 feet, sitting in the passenger seat of a pickup truck. I could see those dark, endless eyes deep into the well of that soul who at the very depths could not do anything but watch themselves shoot, pull the trigger again and again. As if this body were beyond its control, this mind operating automatically. And then the car pulled off, and I watched the truck go down the block and turn the corner in a daze until I heard my friend call my name from somewhere below me to the left. And there he was laying on the ground and said, "I'm dying." I sat beside him as he lay himself to rest, the way a child would, his hands under his head, and the blood began to pool out from his wounds. Now this person who committed this act, I came to find, was a 16-year-old girl. In my description that caught the perpetrator, although very accurate, I had thought it was a young man with long curly hair, but a 16-year-old girl. And something about it being a girl and a very young girl made me relate to her. Made me see her as a human rather than some horrible animal that did me harm and killed my best friend. I knew that something in the system of care, in the community, had let her fall through the cracks. And I saw that in identifying with her. That had I gone through the same circumstances, been in similar situations, that could have been me. I could have been the one behind that trigger. I could be. There was no blaming this individual, nothing to forgive. She wasn't at fault. The system failed her. The system of collective community, of governance, of the collapse of her village failed her. And I didn't blame her. Now she needed to take ownership of her actions and was responsible for my friend's death and for my being shot. And under the law, we all went through the motions to ensure the transactional payment for that crime. And interestingly, my friend's family, my deceased friend's sister and parents, and I, a couple decades later, petitioned for her release because she not only owned and was remorseful for what she did, she became an advocate for youth. She became a counselor for youth, so that our involvement in this terrible crime brought forth a wave of healing, of preventative care to youth that would otherwise have committed the same crime. So, in our soul agreement, we changed the trajectory. She is continuing to do the hands-on work in the field. at the moment where someone might turn to crime and take another person's life. My friend's death saved countless lives through that lens. And this young girl and the circumstance she found herself in and the crime she committed, taking someone's life, was a catalyst. So it's a great mystery. I don't have all the answers for. I just know in my heart, in the way that I was influenced growing up with the Buddhist ideals of compassion and empathy and doing no harm. I just know that feels right. And for me to slip into blaming her and hating her and wanting to sit in that anger and revengeful stew doesn't feel right. It doesn't bring anyone to a better place. It doesn't bring me in my heart to a place of peace and safety. It doesn't feel in alignment with justice and balance in the way of ma'at, the harmonic balance that affects all life. In the way I was trained as a psycho-spiritual minister to be in right relationship, the way I understand the teachings of Native Americans and indigenous South Americans, of walking this red path, this red road of stewardship for the earth and each other. The way my teachers in spirit, like Malidoma Somé, Malidoma Patrice Somé, have written about and spoken about this community care and responsibility for every individual. The way I was taught by my teachers, Dr. Azra and Saren Bertrand, in the way of relational healing. I am another you. You are another me. We are connected. We are one. And it doesn't feel right to perpetuate harm, to take a stance of I will not forgive. Such a hard line. such an immovable line. No room for evolution, for resolution, just perpetual war. So for speaking this, put a scarlet letter on me if you will. Or let me wear another patch that separates me from you. Do that to me and you will forever live in a mindset, in a world that pits one against the other as separate. I won't live in that world. I'll wear your scarlet letter. But that won't be where I stand. I won't be a reflection of you in that way. I will be your shadow. That part of you that you suppress under your pain and grief. And I will grieve with you. Whether you align with me or not. I will always care what happens to you. And that girl, that young woman, I look forward to one day embracing the same way that my friend's sister did when she went to visit her in prison. They embraced and wept, embracing the woman who shot her brother and killed him. When we allow ourselves to feel, we can perceive a truth beyond assumptions, beyond what is apparent, beyond the pain of our human experience. As I sit here watching the sunrise, I can't help but think of all of you and hold you in my heart and pray for peace. Let it begin in my heart. Let it continue from my heart, carrying forth out into the world around me, into this earth, saturating the roots of all life with love, with nourishing love, with life-giving love, with sustaining love, with regenerative love.